SmashFactor.
Terrific driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to episode 112 of the SmashFactor, the Memorial Jacks tournament. Obviously the same place as where we were last year, as we all heard in the industry over and over and over. Not only that, the telecast itself, which is good and bad. We won't have to get too far into the course history and all that kind of stuff. We'll be relying a little bit more on course history at the Memorial than last week. Was kind of a course fit among several different places that were similar in the setup that they had last week. If you watch the coverage, which was painful to find at times, but that'll be a little bit later in the pod. Overall, it's, the things you heard, and then, we have contacts that they're going to leave the rough up and let it keep growing all the way through this week. And then try to get the greens, between 13 and 14 compared to 11 and a half. They will be battling some weather this week, just like last week. I do think it's a little more prominent this week. There was delays, obviously, but this week, it's probably gonna be similar. It's just it comes in Thursday and Friday, where last week it was pretty much Friday they got thrown out of whack and had a couple delays and had to finish Saturday morning. I think there could potentially be some delays even Thursday. Will make it tough to see what the edge will be until we get closer to Wednesday and kind of see how those systems are setting up. It's a lighter chance Thursday. Right now it looks mainly in the afternoon, and then Friday looks mainly in the morning. The hard part about that is, as we kind of learned last week, is if it gets pushed back or delayed too much, then the edge one thought they had may not be there. I mean, right now you would say AM PM looks nice because you're going to get, great course, greens and everything Thursday morning, and the potentially soft course Friday afternoon if everything held as it was today. Obviously it's something we keep an eye on, and I'll do heat maps. I did a mini heat map into the final rankings last week because I didn't think it was too prominent, but we'll keep an eye on that. Before we jump to the Memorial, let's review the workday. Charity Open, huge round 3 showdown for me. To that point, I do think showdown becomes more advantageous if we can nail some advantages. So I'll try to keep an eye on that and incorporate that in the showdown rankings. Round 3 last week saved me. I hit third in the 444 for 10K. Was winning it most of the afternoon, dropped to second. And right at the end, if JT had made his putt, and I think it was, I remember it was Morikawa or Hovland would have missed, vice versa. It was really, and both were tight, close. I'd have won it all. So it's that close, but I'll take the 10K. It saved my butt. Main slate, just too much Brooks, really. I mean, but it's that close. I was talking to someone last night about it, and I said, "Are you mad?" I said, "I'm not mad." It's like, the reason being is like, let's look at Woodland and Cantley. Both barely make the cut and then go on and have those runs throughout the weekend to boost people way up. I think both might have been the Millie Maker lineup, not 100%, but if that's Brooks, who did make a run Friday afternoon, which I'll be probably back on him at what I think is a cheap price this week, too cheap at 9,100. If he happens to make one more birdie, I think he went 6 under the last 10 or 11 holes or something, and gets in at -2, then he makes that big run. Well, I have a completely different week. I mean, all I mean by that is it's a fine line, especially in golf, especially if you're new to DFS golf. Like, this is what it's all about, is it's man, that cuts what Friday and even Saturday morning. I mean, we're all going back and forth. Is it going to drop to -1? Is it going to go -2? Looked like -1 was locked. And then some bombs started dropping and it moves to -2. And so Brooks is right there. I'm like teeter-tottering because I know I had a ton of Brooks last week, like 45%, which is probably is almost as high as I go on anybody in general. I think highest ever, which, I've had DJ before at 60 plus, but Tiger at times when I thought he was undervalued, which is rare, but 60 is about as high as I go. But in these kind of fields where it's just stacked and it's too hard to kind of go all in. 45 is about as high as I go. And so, I mean, I was in on Brooks. So when he missed the cut, it was kind of like, game over. I mean, I had tons of 4 or 6s that were solid and 5 or 6s. And so you might say, well, the 4 or 6s, what does that matter? Well, I saw plenty of guys with Cantley and Woodland 5 or 6s that skyrocketed Sunday. So, I mean, if I had Brooks there on, I had like, 40 lineups with Brooks that if he makes the cut, I got, a ton of 6 or 6s. I'm well over the average for the week and a ton of solid 5 or 6s, but he doesn't, and that you get, it just sucks, right? you shit out of luck for lack of a better term. But it's so close. And then you see runs like Cantley and Woodlands where I just don't get too frustrated. It's just, one stroke here, one stroke there can mean all the difference in the world. Is what it is. This week's gonna be interesting, soft pricing, major championship. If you're new to the industry, kind of typically majors are a little bit softer. I don't know. Some people think it's to bring casuals in so they can build easily. I don't really know the logic behind it. It's just they can't. I mean, with that many top guys, you have to spread it out a little bit. So I think we'll have pretty spread out ownership. There'll be some hot spots to some guys we'll talk about throughout the pod. But betting, nothing much there. I've had 2 great weeks and then a pretty down week last week. Didn't feel much going. I didn't even play Sunday because I just wasn't feeling it on that end. It's good to do sometimes. You don't want to rush a bet or make a bet just because you have to. Some weeks I am feeling it. 2 week or a week ago Sunday, I really love the board and I put 2 3-stars and a 2-star, which I rarely do, and it sweeps. So you got to take the good with the bad and move on. Golf tournament itself, fantastic. All the way around, unique to kind of get up. Not unique. We've had it more often than not, but to get up at it's 5:15 my time to kind of make sure you got all those lineups tweaked the last minute. I ate too much Brendan Steele Kool-Aid Sunday. I just thought, man, if he can just be average putting, the way he was hitting the ball, like, his price, I really thought he could be there. He could be that guy that kind of came out of not nowhere, but, less known or less out of there. And he did not. So round 4 didn't go well after the big round 3 hit, but, get up at 6 a.m. You're watching golf all morning and it ends after 3 playoff holes, probably like 2:00 my time. So it was, fun morning to do that. Great finish by those guys. Clutch putts, huge putts. JT makes it. I would have bet anything that he won it with that 50-footer. I just thought Morikawa, who's not a strong putter, we know in general. But I felt, I guess when he made it, there was a part that said, man, I feel like Morikawa might make it because he doesn't have the luxury of the 2-putt. Where I think if JT misses it, taps in for par, I equally think Morikawa could have missed it because he'd been like, all right, just 2-putt and go to the next hole. I mean, he would have tried, but they're both missing putts plenty down, but they're both making them. JT makes one more putt in regulation and he wins it in regulation. But as he mentioned, he can't give up a 3-shot lead with 3 to go. But all in all, it was great. Great talent. Golf is tough. DFS golf is tougher. I say that all the time, but it was great all around week. My pools were solid. I had a lot of that feedback in the Slack last night. Everybody's frustrated, but I just went heavy on Brooks. But everybody had 1 or 2 Rose. There was a lot of Rose guys. I didn't do much Rose, but Rose murdered a lot of people. So some solid 5 or 6s with the Rose, or Damon was pretty popular. I didn't go. I was half the field on Damon, just because I didn't want to eat that much chalk. I decided to go elsewhere on the chalk stuff. We'll talk about that in final thoughts in E9 for sure. But this week's gonna be a little bit different. We got every big boy here. We got guys at what I'll call eye candy prices. So I think not only betting but DFS. I kind of get into it in the strategy later on, but I think people get inept with these low prices. I'm like, it's all relative to the field. Like, don't, And then when he goes the other way, I say the same thing. So when it's a fall swing and, 7,200 Scotty Scheffler is 9,000, I think people go, but it's relative to the field he's playing in. And so this is the opposite of it. You're going to see a lot of prices you've been seeing on these guys that were high priced, really low, and it makes you want to click them, but you still got to play the game and play the field for what it is and kind of work through your strategy of the week. And hopefully we help you do that. So get that started today and then go on for the next 48 hours, which will be pretty nonstop for me. I'm all in on this. Not that I'm not all in any week, but I'm pretty fired up. I feel like I have a good leverage and a good strategy. Obviously I hadn't listened to a pod yet, so I got to kind of listen to pods, read some content, see how the pulse is, and we'll make some adjustments as we march towards Wednesday. But as always, 2020 site sponsor, Super Draft. Put $10 bonus, put $10 in play, get $10 bonus back. It gives you, put that $20 in play, and anytime you win or anything you win over that comes back to you. Use the code GUP or go to the website, gupscorner.com/affiliates, click the link. You still probably got to put the code GUP in and you can get that match. We got tons of content with D-Rock heading up Super Draft. We've had pretty great success in that platform. It's a solid platform if you're newer to DFS golf in general. Obviously, we all love DraftKings and playing it, but sometimes you can gain some leverage and kind of some practice over there without going up against hundreds of thousands of lineups. If you want to give it a try out, and we have great rankings with D-Rock that helps you along there. All of our PGA tools and content has the Super Draft in there as well. The live leaderboard has Super Draft scoring, so you can check all that out. This week, only 20% off any package with the code TIGER. It'll end basically 1 week from this morning or midnight. So you got all week if you're debating, or maybe you want to upgrade. If you're in the site already, reach out to us if you want to do that. support@gupscorner.com. If you're a current member, we'll take care of you. If you've been on the fence of joining, use the code TIGER and get 20% off any package on the site. Again, that'll be through Sunday, through the end of the tournament. Up now, and will be in the pod descriptions of Listener League. DK made it bigger. We're up to 400 entries now. $7.50 two max. 10% rake, which is as low as I go for, these kind of things now. So it's also on the Twitter handle @Gups Corner. If you want to check it out, make sure you get in there. Let's fill it up quick so we can keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger as we march towards the PGA Championship, which is my birthday week. So it'll be exciting. First week of August. Let's see if we can get this thing up well over 500, 600, 700 entries. Last week's winner, DTR 7376. Ran away with it by 34 points. Really, really kind of had it in hand. Did a solid lineup. Had Morikawa, Hovland, Neiman, Hadwin, Lowry, Henley. Obviously, Morikawa was a big piece there, but Hovland, so you got two of the top three. Neiman quietly had just a good week. Wasn't bad, T31. He's played this course well 3 times now. Obviously, last week was a little different, but Hadwin, we talked about him last week. Good, he gets a price drop this week. He's kind of one of those eye candy, but maybe good candy. So it's not all eye candy's bad. We'll talk about that. Lowry, kind of a good start and then fell through the weekend, but still scored for you. And same with Henley. Henley had an okay all around up and down. He shined at times and then would fall off a little bit, but he played well in general. We saw a lot of them on the PGA Tour live coverage, so I liked where he was last week. Quick turning preview. As always, Kenny Kim will be back on the pod tonight after his crab food poison hiatus, I believe is what it was officially diagnosed as. I'm sure he'll talk about it tonight. He'll break down the course. We are back to the traditional memorial setup, Muirfield Village, 7,400 par 72. Tees will be back this week on some spots, probably playing a hair longer in general. Bit green grass, quick greens, pure greens. As I mentioned, they're going to grow the rough up pretty thick. Hitting fairways are going to be important. Hitting the right spots, as you saw last week. Sometimes fairways are always important, but also hitting the right spots on the holes, depending on where the flags are important. And kind of mentioned last week, but we are 7 weeks later than normal. But the rain that's happened in the last 2 weeks, probably has it playing similar. It's not as dried out as it could be for sure. Keeping it soft with that rain coming in. But Kenny Kim will break that down for us. He also puts his article up with enhanced plays on Wednesday, so make sure you get on that. As I mentioned, rain chances Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Nothing right now to. If it was right now, it'd be AM PM would be the advantage in my opinion. But we'll keep an eye on that as we get closer and closer to Friday. I'm gonna have the cut -1. It is only 133 man field. We've been having these big 156. It's normally 120, so it's actually bigger than normal for Jack's Invitational, but smaller than what we've been dealing with. So you would think the 6-6s will be up there, but only takes a couple of big chalky guys missing to still keep them down. Winning score, I'm gonna go with -14, -15, probably a hair lower than traditional. Just because I think if it rains and all that comes in, I think it could play soft, softer than what they want it to. But I mean, you never know. Now, the bad thing about the rain and all that, maybe it makes it rough, harder to get out of, and even more important to be able to put your club in the fairway, which also brings in, if you do miss, you want to have good around the green and good bogey avoidance. So I think those are important stats this week. 37 guys have not played this course since 2016. Ranges this week: 10K 5 guys, 9K 6 guys, so it's definitely spread it out more. 8K 11 guys, 7K 34 guys, and 6K 73, which is the lowest the 6K has been since the reboot. Definitely encouraging balance type builds. I think, let me double check. I only have 3 guys in my top 40 right now. They're in the 6K at all. Now some of that can change, but I mean, normally I have quite a few guys that I'm at least circling, and I had 3, 4, 5, and then it gets kind of sketchy after that in the 6K that I think's worth a look. Well, normally I could easily list out 8 to 10, I think, are worse than flyers. We'll have to see once we get to the deep dive and all that come Wednesday. But there are a lot of 7s I like, especially lower ones: 7,100, 7,100, 7,000, 7,100. So, which, they're not technically 6K, but they're down there. So I think you could get by with some of that as well. But your highest price guy on the board is 11-1. Definitely spread out to be build your lineups as you wish kind of deal. If you're new to the pod, appreciate it. We have grown every week since the reboot, and we thank you for that. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube if you're watching that. Hit the like button, rate and review us on iTunes. I will be doing a big giveaway for Wednesday. I'll list it on Twitter like I have been doing. I will tell you the easiest way to make money on these giveaways is to rate and review us on iTunes. Give us 5-star, give us your rate and review, and you're entered automatically. That'll be one of the ways that you can win this week. And there will be a winner that rate and reviews us on iTunes. So that's a guaranteed way to get in. And we'll have some other ways. I'll put it all out there later on tonight, and we'll give it away Wednesday afternoon before the Millie starts. Do 4 tiers if you're kind of new, or if it's your first time ever. Pricing tiers on the first 3, and then the last one is a flop, fade, and sleeper. It's 3 picks on each of those, so the dirty dozen is what we call it. And then I do a round table wrap up where I'll go through. Looks like this week I got 23 guys earmarked that I don't mention above, and those 12 picks. Just kind of giving some things that caught my eyes as doing my research last night and today. Go through weekly strategy, betting strategy, one and done strategy, and then we'll bring it home from there. First tier, 9K and above. I mean, probably the most crucial tier this week in general. Where are people going to fade, go, however you want to call it? That this is kind of more that I can, Tigers 9,000, Brooks 9,100. X 9,200, Rom 9,300. A lot of choices up here, and they're all going to have reasons to play them. Hovland, Webb. Me personally, I'll get into it in the strategy part a little bit, but I think some people tend to get I won't say overwhelmed, but they overthink is probably not even right too. They kind of FOMO, fear of missing out. And so you wind up spreading yourself so thin when you see these guys up top, like, oh, I got to have this guy, got to have this guy, got to have this guy. And it's great. You can literally make a reason for all those guys. But when it comes to contest and strategy, you have to make some hard choices here and just live with them. Because if you start trying to get a little bit of all of them, I think you're going to spread yourself out, and your mathematical odds of winning and gaining leverage on those spots is very little. I will be using ownership a little more this week. Obviously I'll grind it out. I think I put one of the best ownerships out there in the industry. So that'll be a key come Wednesday night. But in general, like I'm going to like the plays I like. And then I may pivot a little bit, but because all these guys up here are just so, it's a very thin line of the difference between player A to player B to player C. So, in all honesty, I'm not going to, if I can gain double the ownership leverage on a guy, and I think it's less than a fourth of a stroke around difference between those two guys, I'm going to do that, especially this week. We'll see how the industry goes. There's a couple guys I don't know how they're going to go. So I'll be interested to listen to it. My three guys, Tiger's one because not because he ranks up high or anything. I'm hoping the betting number jumps enough people because it laid out there probably twice the size of what some thought. I thought it would be around 18 to 20. It came in 28. I think it flirted with 30 for a little bit. And for me, I don't know if he can win, but he did look sharp. He looked athletic, fit, healthy at the challenge. And he striped the ball off the tee. And that is what you need here. And if he's putting himself in the fairway over and over and over, he can win. I would rather be overweight on him on DraftKings because at 9K, I don't need him to win. So Tiger's the guy for me. We haven't seen him. That's the big, worry. He obviously has a course history. He's won there 5 times. So interesting to see how he comes out ownership wise, but I do like Tiger. I think the forgotten man that'll just kind of get middled out in the 10K range will be DJ. I like DJ coming off of wins. I like his history here. I like him on bent. I think he likes fast, pure greens. And I think he'll be the lowest owned in this range. I thought it was going to be Morikawa just because people may not want to go back, but now he's the cheapest in this range. He's coming off the win. People are going to know that and see that. They're going to hear playing the same course again, quote unquote. I think DJ winds up probably being the odd man out there. And so I'm going to go Tiger, DJ. And the last one is hard. This is a tough week. So I'm going to give you a 3A and a 3B. It's a toss up for me, and I'll probably let ownership, but it's DJ or Brooks. Rahm or Brooks. Rahm finished strong Sunday. I don't know how much that'll hold weight because he sucked the first 3 days. He barely made a cut, and then he was almost dead last going to Sunday, and he kind of had like a Cantley round before Cantley got on. They kind of brought him back. Brooks, I just mentioned it, similar. He kind of felt like he woke up after 27 holes of the rust and 26 holes, whatever, and finished really strong enough that I don't know if that caused him to want to just go ahead and stay and play, because he said, I'm not playing the Memorial at the beginning of the week. And then they have 30 minutes after their second round to declare, and he went ahead and declared. And so he's in. To me, that says motivation. For whatever reason, whether it's FedEx, whatever, if it's him, the Bryson hoopla, which I don't, there's a lot of people that took, that thing way farther than I even cared to. It is what it is. They're having fun going back and forth. I didn't really, unless I get it if the allegation's there, but if he says it, they need to deal with that. I don't really care. I just care about how he's going to play golf. And to me, the guy that played the last 9 holes on Friday, if that guy shows up at 9,100, he's extremely cheap and his betting price was great, 25 to 1. So those are my kind of 3-4-ish guys. 7,600 to 8,900. I like Garcia. Not much history here. I don't know if he's played here at all. Definitely not since 2016. That's kind of as far as I go back. Great form before he kind of took, I think he's taking the last 2 weeks off. He had 5th at the RBC, 32nd at the Travelers. 7,800 seems cheap for him. He also putts well on bent. So I like Garcia. Binion, he went +4. Then I think he was 6 under before the rain stoppage Friday. And then once he got back on the course, kind of stumbled down the blocks and missed the cut. But his history here is so great. I mean, 11th, 25th, 2nd, 17th. So a bounce back week for him. I'm not sure how the industry will take it. They could just all say the same thing. Bounce back week and is a good play. I don't mind playing him at that price, 7,700. Neiman, 7,900. Already kind of mentioned him earlier. I like his history here. 31st last week, 7,900. Great price as well. I think he's a guy that can. He's a cut maker, and I think you need that this week, especially in this range. You just want to get 6 in, give yourself a chance. I mean, there's probably guys Saturday morning, mid Saturday, that had 6 in, and Cantley and Woodland were 2 of them, and it was like, maybe I'll break even this week. And all of a sudden by Sunday afternoon, they're contending for top money. So, Neiman's a guy I like a lot to just at least make the cut and have a chance. He loves putting on bins, his best putting stats. So I like that as well. My third tier, 7,500 or less, Wallace. I didn't play much of him last week. He was on the radar, kind of missed my pool-ish. I think I had a little small percentage of him. 39th last week. He's 7,000 right on the nose. So he's one of those guys that, he's down there low. He could easily be 6,900 or something, but 32nd in my stat model, 28th overall. I like the price. He's pretty good form coming in. He's got a 64th, a miscut, a 12th, and a 39th. So I have no issues with him. He's not played here, but this setup, but I don't really think that'll hurt him, being that he got to play it last week somewhat, at least be familiar with the layout, even though the greens and stuff may change. Lucas Glover is a guy I haven't been on as of late, but didn't play last week. I don't know if he just wanted the break because he'd played a lot in a row, but great for him coming in. 21st, 20th, 21st. Last 4 out here at the Memorial setup. 33rd, 45th, 52nd, 52nd. 19th in my stat model. Glover's one of my top plays this week. I like him, $7,100. He is a very roller coaster type of guy, so he does worry me, but I'm sure he'll get talked up some in the industry as well, but I don't mind having some Glover. And then last for me, Straka. I think Straka played great last week. And we got to see a lot of him. Finished 14th. I like that this will probably not be as high scoring for a guy like him because I think he can compete even better, even though he did well last week, when 10 under is going to be a great score. I mean, there's several of those guys this week that I'm looking at. I really don't see this going to 18, 19 under, not with the way Jack sets it up, and the greens will be fast. 39th in my stat model, 24th in my recent form, 42nd overall, but the 7,000 price kind of brings him into that play, especially not having a lot of love down in the 6Ks this week. I like Straka. My flop this week, I'm going to go, I think I've had him 2 or 3 of the last 4 weeks, is Rose. Something's off, and it was off bad last week. Now he could be a potential, everybody talks up, bounce back. I don't know. He had a 14th at RBC. He's had 2 straight missed cuts. He took off Rocket Mortgage, but he missed Travelers, missed last week, missed bad, almost DFL. He does have a good course fit here. He's definitely a bounce back contender. 8,900 is a great price for him, but I'm going to take my flop and say he doesn't return this week. You got to make some hard cuts up here, and I just don't see enough from him at all. Can he turn it on and probably win this thing? Sure. I'll just pass this week. Fade is more Cal. I do think the 10K price, recent winner last week, he's kind of right on the radar of everything. I do worry about, just because he struggles with putting in general sometimes, quicker greens. He was sharp, definitely. He won the tournament. There's nothing knocking him. I just think because he's the lowest price up there, he's going to garnish that ownership. It was close to me. It was either Bryson or Morikawa. But I think Bryson's I'm interested to hear how the industry responds to him, because I don't know if this setup will set up well for him, although he's won here, but now he's a different Bryson. And so this big bomb and gap, if this rough's thick and nasty, he'll probably play it smart, though, on the holes that he needs to be in the fairway. He could do that. But he's putting lights out. Those two is a toss-up. And if Bryson continues to get, talked up, now he's the highest priced guy. I went with Morikawa because I think he'll be higher owned. And so I wanted to fade there. And I don't mind playing Bryson if he's going to be kind of low owned ish, being the high guy. People drop. I mean, why don't you go to JT or Rory? Save the money. Putting's been saving Bryson a lot, blah, 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 blah. There's a million reasons to go off of Bryson, and there's like a million reasons to go on him. He's a very unique situation this week, and I'm really going to let ownership dictate that for me on Bryson. But my official fade will be Morikawa this week. Fade a guy to win back-to-back. The problem is he doesn't have to win necessarily. He does have the top 10, and he's a cut maker. I can go elsewhere at that price range and feel very confident. Unless he's just, maybe I'm off and maybe he's going to be low on to be that. Those two are interesting to me. So they're right there in that same mix for me. We'll see how we get to Wednesday, but as of now, I'm going to fade Morikawa, who I think will be one of the higher owned up there. Sleeper for me, kind of two of them. One's a deep sleeper that probably get talked up just because of his history here. And then the other one's just a decent, good sleeper. 6,700, Mackenzie Hughes. T45 in 2017, did miss a cut the year after that. Pretty good form coming in, at least making cuts. So 6,700, all you need is a cut maker. T70 RBC, a third at the Travelers, and a T48 last week. So he played good here last week. Familiar with it. Made the cut one year, didn't make the cut the other year. Not too worried. He just, for the price, he's just a good price for me. My deep guy that I think will get probably industry talked up is Lingmerth. Obviously, tremendous history here. Last 4 years, 27th, 15th, 29th, 41st. He's 6,100. So almost min price. Certainly all you need is a cut make out of him. Will be in my GPPs. I don't know if I can reach to him on he hadn't played. I don't even know when the last time he played. He hadn't played the last 4 for sure. So that worries me a little bit, but he's kind of like a 3B deep sleeper I'll throw in there. Roundtable wrap up. Cantley, I assume will probably yield the highest ownership again. Maybe I'm wrong there because it's just going to be so spread out, but there's so many options. But I was surprised to see him in 9,800 a little bit. I thought they'd have 6 in the 10K and he would be one of them. He obviously has the number one history. Tiger probably truly does, but I only go back to 2016. But a first, a fourth, a 35th. He storms back Sunday with 7 under, I believe, to get a 7th. Only other time he's played since the return, he had an 11th at the Travelers. He's number one in my model overall. I see no reason not to play him or be on him. But again, we'll have to see how the industry reacts to that. But I like him this week. I'll go right back to him. Rory, I think some will be sticker shock that he's not the highest price. First time in a little while he hasn't been. He did miss a cut here last year, but before that he had a 4th and 8th. He hasn't played since Travelers. He got an 11th. He had a 41st at RBC. He's 6th in the stat. He's Rory. Rory can win any given week. That's just a matter of how chalky does he get. Do you like him? JT, same deal. I think everybody thought he had it won. He let it slip away. He's been up and down here though on the normal setup, a cut, a 4th, an 8th, and a cut. So he got vulnerability here to miss it. You can see if he gets off of the tee box, he starts not being able to hit fairways. It really hurts him. But I certainly don't mind playing JT. He's a potential fade for me, just because I'm gonna have to fade some of these guys up here. You can't play them all like I mentioned before, and I think he will be talked up in high owned. But I like him in general. Kind of let Wednesday work out on that. Already talked about D-Cham. Hovland, no issues going back to him. A third last week. He's not played this setup per se, but last 4 out, 21st, 11th, 12th, and 3rd. 8th in my stat model. Solid as can be. I like Hovland. Putting does worry a little bit. I'll look to see what his splits look like on bent to Bermuda maybe and see that may be a factor come Wednesday. Webb for me, I think he's going to be up there with Cantley as 2 of the higher owned. I think 9,600 people will attract to. He's a potential fade candidate for me, or at least lower owned. Neiman, already mentioned him. Love him. I love him. Reed, I don't know why I keep going back to him. He kind of suckers me in every time I think I'm going to be back. But, 8,400 is just a good price for him. I was really – I could have thought he may be higher at like 9K-ish, but the price lets me. I mean, he doesn't even. I mean, he could probably top 20, and he's returning on this setup. He's got an 8th, a 57th, and a 29th. So nothing to write home about, but he can win any week, and I like this kind of guy, especially $8,400. I could take a chance on Reed. Shoffley, don't mind him at all. Maybe he falls through the cracks on some ownership stuff just because of Brooks is down here, Tiger's down here, Rahm's down here. Finished 14th last week, kind of quietly. I mean, he really wasn't ever in the mix. He was there for a little bit, but nothing crazy. He finished 14th here last year on this setup. 18th in my stat model. No issues with Shoffley. Sungjae kind of looks broken a little bit. I like him better at the 66-1 odds, taking a flyer there and just maybe taking a week off. But I think he'd be so low owned that I think he may be under 10% because he's just not been performing well, that we may get to just be level to the field at 8,200 and take our chances. Same with Finau, 8,300. Cut maker. He took last week off, so maybe rested up a little bit, ready to go. Last 4 out here at the Memorial, 11th, 40th, 13th, and then a cut. So kind of up and down a little bit. HV3, Price, I think he found every fairway bunker on the course last week, at least once. So he kind of struggled. Got the extra rest by missing the cut. Decent results here. Just another low price guy you can take some flyers on. I don't think he'll be too high on $7,100. I don't mind him. Bubba Phil, probably interesting place for me. Bubba missed the cut. He started off horribly. I think he had like a 9 on the front 9 of his first 9 on Thursday, and it probably didn't have much oomph after that. On this setup though, he's typically had a T65, T6, and a T44 the last 4 years. So he may go way overlooked, especially after a horrendous last week. $7,300. I mean, I don't mind going back to Bubba at that price. Same with Phil. He makes the cut. Doesn't really ever get anything going. As soon as he'd get birdies going, he'd blow up a bogey, a double, or something like that. On Jack setup, he's got T20, T22, T13 that he did miss the cut last year. I kind of like where his game was. So for $7,300, I don't mind going to Phil. Brandon Still, we kind of talked about. If the dude can find a putter, he'd be all right. I don't mind a flirt with him at 7,100 because now I just need to make cut. And he's done well. He's made the cut the last 3 times he's played this tournament. He made the cut last week on top of it. Had a 6 at Travelers. A lot of these guys right there, 7,000, 7,100, 7,200, 7,300, they'll just be peppered. So I don't think you have to worry about ownership. You just got to figure out which ones you want to play. Woodland was almost my fade of the week. I'll be interested to see how he gets talked up, being that he did charge, but it was all putting. I mean, he gained like 7+ strokes putting. He may be a great candidate to take a pass on, but he does have great history here. So I'm not going to deny that completely. I don't want to play a chalky Woodland, that's for sure. But I want to see where he's at overall. His last 4 on Jack's tournament, 4th, 49th, 23rd, 52. So nothing great. Did have a 4th and 16, but he's made the cut every time. Those 4 years. He finished 5th last week, obviously, with great putting on the weekend. So he's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Berger hasn't played since he got the win. Stat-wise and course fit-wise, I think is a good spot for him. I don't know if he'll get talked up much, but I'll keep my eye on him. He's definitely right there on the, he's making the first couple cuts in the player pool for sure this week. Answer, I like Answer this week. Good long arm player. He's not done well here, but he's played it twice and he's made the cut both times. He got a 2nd at RBC and 11th at Travelers. He's 5th in my recent form model, 20th in my stat model. So I don't mind Answer. And I think he's actually priced up a little to what most people will see. So I think because of the names around him, they may just go click and buy him at 8,500 and they may be able to get some good leverage there. Connors, he struggles around the green, so I'm not as high on him. Potential flyer, GPP type stuff. Redmond, I always have some of him. 7,600. Last 3 tournaments, 21st, 11th, and 21st. He did miss a cut in 2018. The only time he played here, I think he's a different level of player right now. Hadwin, go back the well there. Day, I go back to the well there. 8,000. He had 7th last week. Was grinding. I think his game's coming back into form more than it Has been. Last 4 times out of Jack's tournament, 27th, 15th, 41st, or 44th, and then missed a cut last year. Homa, he's one of my 6K guys they'll probably make the player pool in the GPPs. 37th here last year, first time playing it. And then Paul Casey, I think it's a little cheap, 7,900 for me. He's only played it once since 2016, which was 2016. He missed a cut. He had a 32nd at Travelers, which is his only tournament since the reboot. I think it's just it seems a little odd around the pricing. Maybe see him as an 82, 8,300, but regardless, I like Casey to kind of round out that round table wrap up. There's tons of guys here. I want to be able to go a little bit longer than normal there for you guys. Soft overall weekly strategy session right here is, soft pricing. You got to avoid the eye candy at times this week. We talked about that. Ownership projections will be key for some tough choices as to gain leverage. But at the end of the day, this is a week to have conviction on who you like and build your solid core. It is easy to get spread out too thin on a week like this. I mentioned that it's kind of been a theme is it's tough to leave some of these guys off, especially at their prices. But I think you got to, because you want to be able to, have leverage on the field in your spot, especially just probably more GPP talk. 1 to 3 max this week, just with the pricing. I mean, I think you literally build the 6 guys you think are going to do best. I'm not too worried about ownership on that as much as trying to gain leverage on. We're playing 177,000 guys in the Millie Maker per se. I mean, you can't spread yourself out to where you have equal leverage on all these top guys, because the odds of you having the nuts on that small of a leverage is less likely than anything else. Now, the last 2 weeks in the Millie Maker, it's been a single bullet entry. So it only takes one, right? We know that. But I think it's easy to keep wanting to click guys, and it's very hard instinctively, for us to, red cross guys. And I think you just got to do it. And once you eliminate that guy from your pool, then you just move on. You can't think about it again, or you overthink this week. And I think that's where people struggle most when building. And we're going to hit on that in the community for sure. And like I said, these first 4 weeks for me have been nonstop with personal stuff, getting things settled and all that. It's the first week where I have I can be around all day, all night, all around grinding, working on this. Not that I don't do that anyways, but it's just been, anytime you relocate, there's some stuff that comes up and you got to bounce back and forth where, the rest of the day today, I got 3 or 4 things, special little things I'm doing. I'm going to post for the community, and I think it's going to be a good week for us. Betting strategy, changing it up a little bit this week. Still brought to you by Monkey Knife Fight. We will be rolling out the first free roll tomorrow. All you have to do is deposit with the link at gupscorner.com/affiliate, or use the code GUP when you deposit. If you just go to their website, deposit $5 or more, all the way up to $50, you get a match, 100% match. And then once you've deposited and put it into play, you're in the free roll for free. So all you got to do is, if you want, I think UFC's Wednesday night, you can play some there. Just whatever, $5, all you need, and you're in. And they're giving away monkey dollars. We're giving away subscriptions or credits. So even if you are a member and you win, you'll still get something from us. And like I said, we'll have our own private leaderboard that'll be going up. We'll have the link in Slack and on the site so people can follow along. I've been doing the plays pretty frequently as I see some I like. I try to do them every night, but sometimes it's I don't really like much, but I have been engaging on that in the Slack has for sure. So make sure you sign up, gupscorner.com/affiliates, click the link, deposit $5 all the way up to 50, you get 100% match, and you're automatically into free money this week for our first free roll. Gups Corner, beat Gups Corner. So the deal will be there will be a leaderboard prizes, and then there's also anybody that beats me will share some of the prize money as well. So looking forward to that. Betting strategy, I'm just going to give you 10 guys that I like. Values, all that, just all in, all out. I'm not going by brackets or anything like that. Here's my 10 right off the board. What I see right now is a Monday night who I kind of like. I like Brooks, 25-1. Tiger, 22 to 25-1, depending on where you're at. He was as high as 30. I probably will leave more to just doing DraftKings and going that route than betting him. Sergio 66-1, Neiman 66-1, Benyon 100-1, Sungjae 66-1, Redmond 100-1, Strillman 70-1, Matsu 25-1, and Reed 50-1. Those are the 10 guys, 10 values that I kind of like. I'll have my final card out Wednesday. Obviously, I normally put my first round of outrights up Monday night, so be on the lookout for that as well in the community. One and done strategy we got this week and next week that for segment 2. I am not in segment 2 sweat. So I've been taking like little flyers and stuff. If you are, it's a big time tournament, big money pool. So this is a place to play a big guy if you want to. I already mentioned them all. I like JT, DJ, Brooks, Tiger, Rory. I like DJ, in the sense of you get a strong guy plus potential low owned. Same with maybe Brooks. One thing I would do, and I normally do when I'm in the hunt, I'm going to reboot on segment 3, is go look at how many times these guys have been picked up there. Because if you got some of these guys have been picked a ton already, you may find that you have leverage to go elsewhere. Some kind of middle of the road guys, say you're just plugging along, you need a solid segment 3 or something, but you're still there. You want to save a couple of those guys, some other next level guys, I call it Neiman, Matsu, Binion, Reed, Sungjae, Fowler are all guys that kind of earmarked as potential one and done pool guys for me. If you're just trying to win a skin, maybe you're dead and you're just waiting on round 3 or segment 3 like I am, or the majors. Redmond, Straka, and Answer are 3 of the guys I thought would be kind of high upside and low ownership potentially. As always, Gup's final thoughts. E9 Wednesday night, 5:30 Eastern. We've had great response there. Do a ton of live questions. The more you guys pump in the channel, the longer I go. Last few weeks have been great. Great feedback by the community. I'll be ready to rock and roll again this week, so be sure to join us there, 5:30 Eastern. Premium member only, obviously, but it's been great. It's been one of the biggest feedbacks we've had in a while, so I'm looking forward to it. As I mentioned, I will be doing a big giveaway, probably giving away some Millie Maker stuff, maybe a $200 DFS for that single entry. It's got 100K up top, which is sexy. Everybody got one lineup. I know it's 2,000 people or something, but that's pretty good to be able to win 100K up top on one bullet lineup like that. And no one else can out leverage you. So Tiger's back, big week, get some promotion going. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button. It helps us a lot. iTunes reviews helps us a ton as well. I'll be giving winners from all that come Wednesday. I'll be looking at subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, which I'm sure you guys do, and rate and review us on iTunes. Final thoughts real quick, send it off. It just kind of last week's been great for me. We're getting settled in. There's so much negativity around that I really try to emphasize the positivity around us. I was writing this down as I go through the day, and for me, it's just a message of to be thankful and appreciative of what you have in life, and make sure we are doing everything we can each and every day to not only improve our personal situations, our family, our financial situations, our health, whatever it is, but to the ones that mean a lot to you, that surround you, checking on them, make sure they're doing good. Grab some coffee, go to lunch, whatever it may be. Because I think if we spend less time in the cesspool of Twitter is what it is, and more time, it's one reason I love the Slack. So because for the majority of it, it's a huge community feeling in there, and we all help each other. And when people are down or out or struggling, there's enough eyes and ears in there that it's positive, around. Now there's some Thursday morning tilts and Friday tilts that we had to kind of slap wrist because there may be too much mother effing, but which is fine. I get it. I mean, we all struggle with that, but it is a positive community, a family-filled community, and it's hard to get that on Twitter at times. We have great Twitter following as well, but that's an area for us to kind of help each other out and be there for each other. And I think right now in these times where there's so much negativity built around us, that think about that as you go through each and every day on how can you be better and make others around you better. I think we'd all be better off if we do that. I'm looking forward to see you guys Wednesday night. I think it's gonna be a great week. I'm excited. Hope you have a great rest of your day Monday, and we'll see you in 48 hours. Thanks. Good night.
SmashFactor.